What happened to the Martins and their 3 daughters in 1958? The Martin family of Portland, Oregon, United States disappeared on December 7, 1958 in the Columbia River Gorge during a day trip to gather greenery for Christmas decorations. Among the missing were Kenneth Martin, 54, his wife, Barbara Martin, 48, and their 3 daughters, Barbara Barbie, 14, Virginia, 13, and Susan, 11. The family's eldest son, Donald, was in the United States Navy and stationed in New York during the time they vanished. Several months after their disappearance, the bodies of Susan and Virginia were discovered downstream on the shores of the Columbia River, roughly 30 miles, 48 kilometers, apart from each other. It was a Sunday, December 7, 1958. Ken and his wife Barbara had spent the previous evening at a Christmas party and were still in a festive mood. They wanted to get some Christmas decorations and so planned a day trip with their 3 daughters Barbara, Barbie, Virginia, and Susan. In the late morning all 5 of them left their Portland, Oregon home in the family's 1954 Ford station wagon and set out to gather greenery so they could make Christmas wreaths. On the following day, Monday, December 8, Ken's boss at Eccles Electric Home Service Company, Taylor Eccles, noticed Ken hadn't come to work. He tried to get in touch. It turned out that Barbie had been marked as absent by her high school, as had Virginia and Susan by their teachers. That evening, Taylor Eccles called the police and reported the family as missing. According to eyewitnesses who saw the family that day, Kenneth was reportedly wearing a tan zip-up jacket and dark slacks, while Barbara wore a navy blue coat, a plaid jacket, and a black print dress. Barbie was reportedly dressed in jeans with rolled cuffs and a beige coat. In initial investigation, the police arrived at the Martins' house on 56th Avenue shortly before midnight. They found a load of laundry still in the washing machine and a pile of dishes drying on the rack. The house looked like a place the family had every intent to return to. The same day the Martins disappeared, an abandoned white Chevrolet with an LA registration was found in Cascade Locks, 40 miles away from their Portland home. The car was not a match for the family's vehicle, but it still raised suspicion. Within the day, 2 ex-convicts Roy Light and an accomplice were arrested for theft of that same white car. But something even more odd was discovered in the bushes close to the Chevrolet. A .38 Colt Commander handgun, covered in dried blood. There's no official data on who the blood belonged to and whether it was tested at all. But even without any information about the blood, the gun itself had a surprising backstory. 2 years before its discovery in the bushes next to the discarded Chevrolet, it was among several items that were stolen from a Meyer & Frank department store. The person who was accused of the theft was Donald Martin, the eldest child and only son of Ken and Barbara. At the time, he was working at the Meyer & Frank department store and was fired for stealing what amounted to $2,000 of goods. When his parents and sisters vanished, he was miles away. Now part of the United States Navy, he was stationed in New York. Several witnesses reported sightings of the family on that fateful Sunday. The owner of a gas station in Cascade Locks, the area where the white Chevrolet was discovered, said the family bought 5 gallons of gasoline at 4 p.m. and continued driving further east. A little while later, they were seen in Hood River. A waitress at the Paradise Snack Bar remembers serving them. Another waiter remembers seeing the 2 ex-convicts who were later arrested in connection to the white Chevrolet, and he remembers they left shortly after the Martin family did. Several passing motorists spotted the family at dusk on the north bank of the Columbia River. On May 1, 1959, 3 months after the tire tracks were reported, a river drilling rig near the Dalles reportedly hooked something of substantial weight to its anchor. However, it became dislodged before it could be pulled to the surface. In the early morning hours of May 2, A fisherman and his wife reported seeing what appeared to be two bodies floating downstream near Cascade Locks. They later encountered them near Bonneville Dam. On the afternoon of May 3, the body of Susan was discovered on the north bank of the Columbia River, near Camas, Washington, roughly 70 miles, 110 kilometers, west of the Dills. Her identity was positively confirmed via dental records. The following morning, May 4, the body of Virginia was discovered near Bonneville Dam, roughly 46 miles, 74 kilometers, west of the Dills, also confirmed via dental records. Susan's body was taken to the Clark County Medical Examiner's office before being transferred to Multnomah County in Portland for autopsies on both bodies to be performed. One of the technicians who had taken fingerprints prior to the autopsies indicated to the medical examiner what they believed to be bullet holes in the heads of each of the girls' bodies. However, according to the medical examiner's report, no such injuries were found, and the cause of death for both of the girls was officially declared as drowning. Traces of metal, including aluminum, was recovered from Susan's clothing. Rupert Gilmouth, the sheriff of Hood River County at the time, suspected that the drilling rig had overturned the Martins' car at the bottom of the river, and dislodged one of the doors, allowing the bodies of Susan and Virginia to escape and surface downstream. Further searches of the water were undertaken by both sonar and helicopter, but were unfruitful. The search for Kenneth, Barbara, and Barbie was subsequently suspended after a search diver nearly drowned. Police theorized that the family may have died as a result of Kenneth crashing their vehicle into the river, while another theory held that the family had been abducted and forced off of a cliffside into the river. In 1961, 3 years after the family's disappearance, a resident of Camas wrote a letter to the Oregon Journal stating that they were parked with a companion in Cascade Locks on December 7, 1958. And had witnessed a vehicle proceeding under the railroad tracks leading toward the locks. Moments later, they heard screaming, but upon investigating, found nothing. In December 1966, 8 years after the family's disappearance, eldest son Donald, the only surviving member of the family, inherited the family's modest estate, which had been in mandated probate for 7 years. Multnomah County Police consistently suspected foul play in the Martins' disappearance, based on the evidence of the tire tracks that indicated the family's vehicle was deliberately pushed from the cliff. Also troubling were the reported sightings of the family at dusk on the north bank of the river in Washington state, while the tire tracks placed them on the south side of the river in Oregon. This would suggest that their car would have fallen over the cliff after nightfall. The arrest of the two ex-convicts in the Hood River area the day after the family's disappearance, for car theft, was also noted, though police were unable to determine if the incidents were related. Walter Graven, a Portland detective who died in 1988, ardently felt the family had met with foul play, and that their murders would be solved once their car was discovered. The cremains of Susan and Virginia remained at the Riverview Abbey Mausoleum in Portland, unclaimed for over a decade after their deaths. On December 30, 1969, the urns containing their cremains were retrieved by an unknown individual. The girls' paternal grandmother, Margaret Martin, had died the day before, December 29. And the girls' cremains were claimed while funeral arrangements were being made for her. For most of the latter part of the 20th century, search efforts to recover the remaining 3 missing family members were not made. In July 1999, however, Oregonian journalist Margie Buell, who had become interested in the case, organized a dive search of the Columbia River near Cascade Locks, searching for the Martins' car. This search utilized new sonar, global positioning system (GPS), and later underwater acoustic technology, but ultimately proved unsuccessful. As of 2021, the remains of Kenneth, Barbara, and Barbie remain undiscovered, and their vehicle has not been found. Did the Martin family suffer a horrible accident or something more sinister? The passing motorists saw the family on the north bank of the river at dusk. This means it was already dark when they were back on the south bank at the Dills, the location where they plunged off the cliff and into the river. Was it a case of exhaustion and poor visibility? This still leaves many unanswered questions. Who were the two ex-cons who were seen following the Martin family out of the Paradise snack bar in Hood River and who were arrested for stealing the white Chevrolet found nearby? But the biggest question has to do with the only surviving member of the nuclear Martin family, their eldest child, Donald. His connection with the gun found near the Chevrolet is not where the strangeness ends. He didn't travel back to Oregon when his family disappeared. He only came once, in March 1959, to settle the family's estate as the sole beneficiary. He didn't attend the memorial service of his baby sisters, Susan and Virginia. In fact, their cremated remains were left at the Riverview Abbey Mausoleum, unclaimed, for over a decade until they were retrieved by an unknown individual in December 1969. Meanwhile, Donald inherited the estate, moved to Hawaii, got married, and had children and, allegedly, never spoke about his parents and sisters until he passed away in 2004. Donald was clearly the black sheep in the family. But did he hire two ex-cons to drive his parents and three sisters off a cliff? The police was never able to either confirm or disprove this theory.